Hi, good afternoon. Fire Marshal Turapak. I'm filling in for Chief Freitag today. And the guest today is Chief Postula. We're going to be talking about our drone program. And, you know, it's interesting. We just had an incident on July 14th and got to use the drone. So tell me a little bit about the drone.
Yes. So the incident you're referring to on July 14th, we did have a vehicle that got stuck in the Agua wash there in, next to Quailwood. It ended up being a single small crossover SUV type style vehicle, and they had one victim that we had reports of being inside of it. I wasn't personally there, but I did talk to the Chief Merrill who was there running the incident. There was some confusion at some point that there may have been, possible two vehicles. So the drone came up like, hey, maybe we need to look further down this creek just to make sure that we don't have more vehicles stuck down there. I think the conflicting reports was, I think someone did try to go to the vehicle that was stuck in the wash, one of the bystanders. I think that's kind of what confused some of the additional we were getting on it. So.
Yeah, so it was, I believe there was 3 rescued, and we even had a minor firefighter injury, correct?
Two that I know of for sure with the vehicle, and we did have someone injured. One of the firefighters were injured, helping out with that.
So it's kind of crazy that the technology these days that we can use drones to now identify people that are, in a creek like that, or in a structure fire, or afterwards, or even looking for people. That's pretty cool technology.
Yeah, how it came about on this call specifically is, our drones pretty much respond to any major incident we have. We have them located on our 2 battalion chief rigs. So our 2 battalion chief vehicles respond to fires, TRTs, wildland, hazmats, any big incident. They're going to be there with them. Historically, the hard part about getting them in service was just not having the pilots. So one thing we've been working over the last few years is trying to get more people trained up internally so that we can operate them. Going back to kind of the drone program's inception, back in 2018 was kind of the inspiration. We had a structure fire that was way up a hill, and the IC command post was parked about a mile away. That's as far as they could get to it, because it had tons of trunk line going into the house there, and he couldn't get close. So someone from the county came out to do, I guess, their investigation side of it. And that was the first time we had seen them, and they were able to show the incident command, overhead view of what was going on that we couldn't see from the location we were at. So that was the inspiration. Knew right away like we needed to get them with the organization. We actually wasn't as easy as just throwing them on the truck and getting to use them. There's actually a lot of stuff we had to kind of put in place. Policies, procedures need to be built. You have to go through an FAA certification process to be able to use them for public safety, and so that was kind of the hard part, getting that kind of off the ground. But once we had that good to go in 2019, we were able to put them on the engines, and they actually started with just the pilots who had them, okay. And then now they've moved on to the BC trucks. So
yeah, it was pretty awesome. I was fortunate enough to be able to take the training recently, and I passed my exam. So hopefully fire prevention will get going on that side of the drone stuff, because we'd like to use it for inspections and investigations. How many pilots do we have now?
So we have 12 total right now, and we have another couple coming through the pipeline that are working on their studying for their test too. So
that's awesome.
The goal is to have 1 per battalion. We have 2 battalions, so we're trying to get 1 per battalion, 1 per shift out of our 3 shifts. So and then we also have a lot of non-operations folks that are getting signed off, like yourself, that can help us, because we might not always be able to plug a pilot in right away, because obviously with the emergency operations going, we can rely on some of our non-ops folks to come out and use them as well.
So speaking of plugging in a pilot, how does that whole scenario go down? So if we have an incident, how do we get a drone pilot out there?
It's one of these things where we have them there, and we just need to figure out how to get someone to fly them. On our roster, we have it's kind of like a designation that we put on there to let everybody know. They can look at the duty roster and see who a pilot is on there. With that, they can call me directly or whoever's working that day and see who can. Usually someone's working somewhere in the district that can use them, and then we'll just try to get them there to the incident.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. Like I said, I got to go through the training, and we flew last week. I was a little nervous, but I got one in the air. It didn't crash, so I guess I'm still in the drone program.
Yeah, still got your wings. And the nice thing is, like I said, they fly themselves a lot of times, so it's not like a lot of the aircrafts that people actually need to go get a pilot license for. That keeping those in the air pretty important. These, you can let go of them and they'll stay right where they're at. So But going back to your point too, hopefully the response at some point will get built into where I know you're asking about how we get them there. You know, I know we're working on a lot of our there's ProQA and our tiered dispatch model that we're for our agency. And part of something that we can work on is on certain calls, you automatically have a dispatched a pilot for it. So.
That's awesome. You know, I mean, again, going back to that response for the water rescue, you know, I'm looking at a couple details here, and it's like 6 inches of water, you know, can start moving your car around, and you know, you get into a foot of water, your car just turned into a boat. I mean, that's kind of crazy. And up in this area, you know, I came from the valley, so we didn't really have that many, you know, flood issues. But up here, since I've been up here, I've seen quite a bit of issues. So it's really cool having that drone program.
Yeah, in this specific call, the IC, who was Chief Merrill, had kind of asked to see if we could get a helicopter up in the air to see if it can scout some of the upstream and downstream, you know, upstream hazards, downstream safety concerns, and because of the weather, they couldn't fly. You know, we can't fly our drones in, you know, downpour rain, but, you know, light drizzle, anything like that, you know, you can quickly put them up and put them down, unlike a helicopter. So I had made the call to Chief Merrill because I was working as his counterpart out in Chino, and just told him, like, hey, we have a few pilots in your battalion that can respond and help get it up in the air and see, you know, they have thermal capabilities, and that's kind of what our main focus was on this call, was to be able to, scout for potential other vehicles that may have been in the stream as well, and then also check for, you know, upstream hazards that might be floating that direction. Then we were able to, you know, get a good couple, you know, look like a mile or so of clearing that section that they were concerned with there. So,
yeah. Speaking of features, I know when we were training, I saw the one that's going to eventually come over to prevention had a speaker on it, and I didn't realize you can speak into the remote and relay a message, you know, from the drone itself. So I thought that was pretty cool itself. What other features do these drones have?
So the technology's changed a bunch. We're trying to keep up with it. The ones that, you know, you're accustomed with that probably end up over in prevention, you know, those are from like 2018, 2019. So even just in the last 5-6 years, they've come a huge way in thermal capabilities. And that's kind of what we're really trying to take advantage of. It's like putting a thermal imaging camera up in the sky. And you can see it's like military grade thermal imaging. So the older stuff, it was really grainy, hard to really tell. You could tell if something was on fire, you know, or where the most of the heat was, but you couldn't get the pinpoint specifics about what you're looking at. You know, there's a whole bunch of classes on thermography, and, you know, you can geek out on it and learn about all the different ways that you can use that infrared. A lot of the commercial industries use them for inspecting solar panels and, you know, seeing which ones are fried and which ones are still working. And, you know, it's so sensitive now that we can see, you know, people much easier with the new technology drones that we have than it was, you know, previously. So capability, you know, they got zoom cameras, high resolution 4K video. They have the strobes built into them, the new ones, that they'll basically, you know, satisfy the, you know, FAA requirements we need if we're going to fly at nighttime at all. Some of them have the speaker capability, so if, you know, if we find somebody and we need to locate them and communicate with them, we can do so. They have spotlights on them that we can illuminate an area. Some of them are possibly equipped to carry a small payload. So for a swift water, you could potentially fly a vest over to somebody and get a vest on a patient or a victim that might be trapped in the water.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the capabilities are endless, and it's kind of what the industry is going a certain direction towards more. Like public safeties, most agencies are really trying to jump on board and see how they can use that technology to serve their citizens.
Can I jump in real quick? I think, so you put the drone up to see if there were any additional vehicles or victims. And I know you didn't find any of those, but I think you guys did pick up some animals on the thermal, right?
Yeah, it's sensitive enough that you could see, you know, as either coyotes or dogs kind of running down by the creek there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, not too long ago, we were looking for a missing person that PD needed some help with. And, you know, it's dark out, you know, you can't see anything with the naked eye, but with the thermal, you could see the antelope in the fields, and, you know.
Oh, that's a good sight.
You can see when a car had been sitting there, you know, the engine compartment be warmer than the rest of the car, just like our normal heat cameras could see. But you can see that on a large scale quickly over a big area, which is pretty cool.
Well, not only that, but when you're in that terrain, I mean, throwing up a drone, you get to, you know, keep firefighters safe because you're keeping them a distance away. You can launch a drone and get out to an area so much faster than hiking several firefighters out there or things like that. So, I mean, just on the safety standpoint alone, I think it's a big win for our department. but on top of that, the technology. I got to see them fly at the Legato Fire. They were flying inside the parking garage, and that was just amazing to me.
The ATF.
Oh yeah,
that were out there.
That was unreal. Watching that stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else we can talk about.
Yeah, so with these, we can use them for several different things. As a hazmat tech, it's definitely something I want to keep on our, available. You can go down range and, check the heat or read placards or chemical names without ever putting anybody close to the actual hazard. Mm-hmm. So it saves time because, if you have to suit somebody up in either level B or level A suits, it's going to, you're looking at 30, 45 minutes to get everybody spooled up, ready to go, where you can set a drone down to get recon instantly and bring it back to research and figure out what's going on and help speed up an incident or help get information quicker.
That is awesome.
For the swift water side of things, you can use it for TRT. We actually use them for missing people quite a bit, where we help cover some ground. There's programs I know that like YCSO uses to, it's called like Locate, mm-hmm. where they're able to basically scan a huge area with a grid, and then they can put in a swatch of color, and then the computer will process all their footage and tell you pinpoint like this lat and long is where we saw this color of clothing. So a lot of it's software too. So it's not just the drone's hardware itself, but the software that's out there to help us do our jobs better is pretty
sounds like
fantastic.
There's just endless capabilities of what we can do with a drone. Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming out today. One more thing is I'd like to talk about real quick on the that incident that we had with the water rescue. Turn around, don't drown. It's as simple as that. Again, Chief Postula, thank you for coming out, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.